it away. Now, we have some pardons here by the President of the United States today. The President has issued a pardon for Nikola founder Trevor Milton. You remember Milton was the former CEO of Nikola.
The company got destroyed. It went bankrupt, and so all the assets are up for sale right now. So it's definitely something I'm looking at right now, and I may consider picking up either some or those assets. It is a potential and a possibility, but I don't think that that's where I'm going to dedicate my next years of my life.
So many relevant things were happening as I began working on this video concept around December 2024, and it's April 2025 or beyond if you're watching or listening to this now, so that's cool to still have been relatively early in the crazy history we currently find ourselves in. Same for electric cars. Nobody would have guessed the savior of the human race, electric battery power, is now being turned on by the very demographic it was meant to appease. Regardless, more specific things have happened in the electric car industry, and it has nothing to do with selling enough cars to justify their past stock prices, which leads us to a way too late analysis on the overhyped EV stocks from the 2010s. Our full-length deep dive video posted in March 2025, we covered 6 companies: Canoo Inc., Nikola Corporation, Faraday Future, Workhorse Group, Lordstown Motors / New Ride Inc., and Lucid Motors. Of those companies, 5 listed themselves on the stock market via a SPAC merger. A SPAC merger is when a shell company formed by investors or owners acquires a private company seeking to go public, and that company, through the acquisition, is now listed on the market as part of this shell group, known as a Special Purpose Acquisition Company or SPAC. This is a faster, easier, and cheaper way to liquidity from the market to help businesses that need cash injections without the formalities. Examples of SPACs range from Trump's Media and Technology Group to DraftKings. We aren't stock pickers or financial advisors here at Perspective Reports, but we noticed a trend that during the 2010s, many electric car companies seeking bigger ambitions and riches listed themselves to the market this way, and the 6 companies we analyzed averaged a loss of 94%, that's negative 94% of their value all time, after listing. 3 went bankrupt for now, and at one point just the 6 companies we analyzed had a market cap of over $20 billion. So what's in that type of merger trend? If you see a SPAC merger, expect high risk. The co-founders of Tesla were 2 engineers who designed a way to mass-produce electric car drivetrains. Bernard Say, a key VP and engineer at that early Tesla, was in charge of the energy division before co-founding Lucid Motors. Many technologies that power our lives today came from lesser-known individuals. The most common battery setup in electric cars is the skateboard platform. The first electric car was made in 1888, and the first hydrogen-powered vehicle was made in 1807. The oldest electric battery dates back to 250 BCE. Society is capable of implementing renewable energy, but the lack of infrastructure in the USA to support it materially, economically, and politically holds back EV growth. The 6 companies we analyzed in our EV stock video can be split into consumer and commercial focused. Canoo, Nikola, and Workhorse are commercial, while Lucid Motors, Faraday Future, and Lordstown Motors were consumer focused. The consumer level issues for electric car companies can be distilled into brand, funding, and infrastructure. Tesla as a benchmark had a uniquely advanced product, and as investors like Elon came in, they were able to streamline a vision, create a brand, and get hype around it. Then in 2010, they IPO'd on the stock market, which allowed them to access liquidity that was used to fund the supercharger network with public funding partnerships to speed things along. These other companies could not replicate this, as attempts range from Faraday trying to get influencers to build hype to Lucid Motors relying on the luxury experience messaging to attract that price point consumer, which when factoring only 7% of the US makes $250,000 annually. Targeting a saturated luxury market with your only selling point being electric does not equal huge production numbers. Lucid Motors in the combined years 2023 and 2024 only produced 17,000 cars while delivering 16,000 of them. That would mean over 2 years, only sales of $2 billion, when their operating cost for only 2024 was $3.7 billion. No bueno. It's easy to see why they are far from rivaling Tesla, who produced 1.7 million cars in 2024. The story repeats for all the analyzed companies as costs and demand don't match without a brand to hype up those numbers. Commercial companies like Nikola, Workhorse, and Canoo Inc. simply did not invest in scaling production or were not able to afford to do so. There were so many interested companies and orgs from Walmart, Anheuser-Busch, and the USPS, but interest is not the reality of manufacturing and production, which has generally been on a decline in the USA for the past 50+ years. The most recent successful car startup in the USA is Tesla, and before that it is thought to be Chrysler or Jeep. It's hard to break into an established market in the USA without cash and sleepless nights to burn. 38% of new car purchases in China are electric versus only 10% of new cars in the USA. This is due to the recency in China's roadway systems and economic boom, allowing them to focus on newer technologies to build forward. In contrast, the U.S. highway system started in 1926 and was fully launched with the 1956 Federal Aid Highway Act, making the U.S. system the pinnacle of the post-World War II world, with gasoline being the main fuel. Multiple generations have been raised on this system and even built economies around it, so adoption in the US has a higher bar to clear, whereas in China they don't have this tradition to move past. So essentially, the climate for non-gas powered vehicles in the USA led to management at EV companies seeking to fill this need by inhabiting a negative feedback loop of chasing cash injections to make and sell their cars, that at some point making the cars took a back seat. The cost of electric cars has made it a privileged premium, and since America claims free market principles, at some point a company will fill the demand for affordable electric cars, but it will have to focus on a sustainable path to scale and maybe diversify outside of private vehicle ownership as the main product, at least at first. Regardless, we'll be waiting for the next American company that will create a proper, exciting, and worthwhile private transport experience that more of us can get behind.
Perspective Reports.